These two girls go crazy over the hot cashier, but the MC is staring at what looks like a full-grown monkey behind the counter. He finds it gross, and let me tell you why. Hassan has this weird talent for spotting horrific creatures pretending to be human. Most of them are harmless background NPCs, but right after he leaves, that same cashier is eyeing him. Yeah, you can smell the trouble coming. Later, when Hassan is alone, 3 guys drop down right above him. He looks up, nearly dies on the spot in panic, apologizes for stuff he never did, and tries to escape, but nope, fate already hates him. Turns out the stranger is some Venom-type dude asking if Hassan can see through their disguises. Hassan never bothered wondering how or when these creatures learned his secret, but he panics first and runs for his life next. The Venom guy casually throws snakes and those Venom noodles bite into our boy before he even reacts. He feels every cell freezing from the poison. They call our boy weird name Bium and tell him to stop acting clueless and show his power. That's when Hassan snaps, these idiots seriously jumped the wrong person. A giant tiger bursts out of nowhere, knocking Hassan off his feet. He wonders why God sends a tiger when he is clearly a cat person. Suddenly, a massive explosion hits, and the Venom dude finally realizes the monkey detective was right. This guy really does have an ancient seal spell. The tiger shifts back into a regular human and apologizes to Hassan for keeping him waiting, and then turns to attackers. The lackeys think Biam's some newborn cub they can bully. Poor idiots don't realize this tiger plans to eat them for breakfast. He smacks one into the dirt like it's nothing. The second jumps in, only to get shut down by a leg slam and tossed aside like yesterday's trash. Then the venomous serpents slither in with their deadly bite. The serpent dude prays the venom freezes Biam in place. Turns out Biam casually crushes the snakes like stress balls. He drags the serpent guy in and claws straight through him. The dude splits into snakes and vanishes. Biam just clicks his tongue. Annoyed, the pest slipped away. Still, our hero ends up safe. Later, Bohm wakes Hassan up a little roughly, demanding food. Hassan, still recovering from Bohm's dramatic entrance, is more annoyed than grateful. Even after Bohm insists he's hungry, Hassan doubts this savior really deserves the title. Lost in thoughts about the snake bites, he just heads to the kitchen. While cooking breakfast, Hassan finally asks if Bohm is really the tiger from the Dangoon myth. Bohm asks what Dangoon is. Hassan calls him nasty to steal cat food, but Biam, a cat at heart, shrugs it off and tells the cat to back off. Hassan can't believe he's dealing with a legendary tiger and wonders about the snake freak. Biam ignores him, casually ripping Hassan's shirt open with a flick of air. He asks about Hassan's necklace, and after learning it's from his mom, pushes Hassan into a chair. Biam warns that things are about to get tricky. Hassan lightly whacks him on the head, declaring he's fine as long as those claws stay away. The next day, a new kid named Lee Young shows up in Hassan's class. Everyone's chill about it, but Hassan looks troubled. So there's this bully named Mansu, who runs into Young by pure bad luck. Mansu even grabs Young's head, but Young still smiles. Mansu loses it, swings at Young, but bam, Young's real side comes out. Mansu freezes like he can't even process what just happened, while his goons stand there confused. Then Mansu grabs a chair and turns it on them and starts to beat the crap out of them, while Young rejoices. Sojin peeks in quietly and is shocked to see the chaos. She rushes outside to find Hassan, but before she can explain, Young pops up behind her asking if she's talking about him. Sojin stands frozen, probably still in a post-jump scare daze, but strangely, Hassan starts walking away. Young tags along like it's the most normal thing in the world, asking if he can crash at Hassan's place. Sejin, sharp as ever, hits Hassan with a major task he didn't even know was on his plate, and he just nods like it's fine. They split, patting themselves on the back for being responsible, but it's a total disaster waiting to happen. Later, Sejin walks alone when Young suddenly pops up behind her, asking if she really thinks she can escape after messing up his plan. Next thing she knows, she's standing on the window ledge of a tall, empty building, quietly calling Hassan for help, while Young stands right there. One wrong move and she's toast. You see, Young has an ability of mind control that keeps her frozen, and he was sent by the Yacha gang to catch Hassan. 3 more vagrants show up, and one of them tells Young that their focus should be on Hassan, not some girl. Right then, Hassan storms in and is taken aback to see Sojin about to fall. As she tips outside, she says her body's under Young's control. Our hero yells for her to hang on, while he goes after her. But he's a total introvert and doesn't even ask why they're being targeted. The vagrants watch from a distance, confused about how a weak guy like Hassan is keeping a beast like Biam in check. Meanwhile, Young is still losing it, unwilling to accept the situation. Our hero calls out to Young, questioning his sanity. Young yells back, wanting to see just how pathetic Hassan really is. Suddenly, Seojin slips out the window. As she falls, the vagrants and Hassan can only stare in shock. She hits the ground hard, and Young laughs while our boy collapses under the weight of losing her. Young turns to the senior vagrants, saying Hassan has no powers at all, and that the goon is gross for not even being able to back up his own nasty acts. Young snaps at them, angry that they've been belittling him since he started. He admits he only stuck around to figure out Hassan's powers, but now it's obvious the guy's just trash. Our hero jumps him from behind, but Young freezes him in place, warning he's not in the mood for any killing today. One vagrant grabs Young's arm, insisting they need Hassan without a scratch on him. This just fires Young up again, but the senior tries to calm him down, so Young takes control of the guy's body, making him twist his own neck and break the rest of it. The others shout in disbelief, and Young tells them to sit tight if they want to stand again. He then turns to our boy and chokes him until he can't breathe. But suddenly a vagrant behind Young bursts with dark energy, which gets sucked right into Hassan. No one knows how he's consuming that dark mist like it's nothing, but now he's overflowing with power. Finally, our hero snaps back to control, feeling that wild energy coursing through him. Young gets all hyped to finally face someone who's actually a challenge. Our hero charges, and Young blocks it with that same annoying swagger. But when our boy unleashes a big blast, Young spits blood and freaks out, questioning how Hassan broke free from his spell. He starts twisting his own arm, shocked that Hassan is fighting back with his own power. Hassan grabs him, furious about Suffojin, and says Young's gotta pay for what he did to her. Young just smirks, thinking Hassan has no idea he's about to lose everyone. Our hero smacks him so hard that Young, in pain, actually wonders when this loser got so strong. Our hero leaps up, slams a punch, and the wall shatters, sending Young falling off the building, cursing as he goes. But then Young's body explodes with dark energy. Our hero reacts quickly, trying to get away as it tries to invade him, but it's too late. His body pulls it in and he collapses, knocked out. The vagrants finally see their chance to grab him, but then they feel something even worse. Bikemsum lands in front of them, and they freak out. Before they can escape, Bikemsum blocks their path. Seeing Haseon knocked out, he tenses up, grabs one of the goons, and demands to know who they are. The guy clams up, so Bium chokeslams him without hesitation. The remaining vagrant panics and spills that they're hitmen for the vagrants. Bium presses him for who hired them, squeezing his throat, and the guy quickly cracks, revealing they were sent by the Yacha gang. The scene shifts to the Yacha gang, where the DJ is pumping up the crowd. Over in one corner, a clean-cut guy tells a bossy woman that some DJ named Miho is suddenly taking the club by storm. She brushes him off and walks away with her crew. Little does she know she's actually Dokshini, the one in charge of the Yacha gang. She slides into a meeting that looks like total chaos. It turns out the neat guy was right. Miho's a vagrant too, and he's got his fox ears perked up trying to listen in. Inside, the gang is hatching plans to catch Haseon. Dokshini thinks they don't have to worry about Bing waking up, claiming her thugs handled it. It's kind of hilarious that she has no idea they're all dead, and even the other gangsters remind her that Bing is the strongest vagrant out there. She poses dramatically while pouring herself a drink, brushing it off as just wishful thinking. Just then the door slams open and a guard drags in Miho. He explains who he caught while Miho is sweating bullets, saying he was just trying to find the bathroom. Shiny notices that Miho isn't scared at all, which makes her tense up. She jumps at him, yanks him, and slams him against the wall. Miho actually asks if that's all it takes to leave a tiny scar and starts making fun of her muscles. She kicks him hard, but even while taking the hit, Miho keeps teasing her until she's about to lose it. Her crew rushes after him, and this wild fox doesn't hesitate to smash through a window and leap off the building. He lands perfectly fine and thinks he's escaped, but not for long. The boss lady dives at him from behind with her sharp claws. The way she moves is slick, almost human, but Miho's crazy defense keeps her from even touching him. Now it's Miho's turn. He powers up and shoots flames at Shine, but she just stands there pretending to be burned, which throws him off completely. From the fire, she figures out who he really is. Meanwhile, a black van is waiting, packed with a different team getting ready. The female leader, Yiseo, tells her crew to chill. They'll make their move when the time's right. Cut to Seojin's lovely nightmare reel, and our hero jolts awake sweating buckets. Bium is parked beside him, telling him to chill a bit longer. Our guy asks what happened to those attacking vagrants, but Bium just stays annoyingly silent. Our boy says he's been seeing weird stuff since he was a kid, and his mom told him not to panic because those things were their friends. Bium asks about his mom, but our guy keeps thinking about those creepy vagrant faces, and the 3 new clowns who clearly weren't friendly. He snaps and asks why these guys are after him now. Bium dodges it and asks again where his mom is. Our boy finally says she passed away. Bium pulls out his necklace and asks if she said anything when she gave it. Our guy says she told him it would protect him and never come off. Then Bium says he needs to meet her, leaving our boy fully confused. Back at Yacha Club, Shinny is teasing Miho, calling him a cute spy, and joking about not wanting to mess up his face. He retorts with a quick babe, which totally catches her off guard. Taking advantage of the crowd around, he jumps high and scales a tall building. Shinny's annoyed by Miho's powers, but she's no slouch either, and follows him up, just as she's about to reach the top. Out of nowhere, Miho hits him with a fire square to the face, and blasts it with insane force. But she ducks midair and dodges it. Then Shinny takes a boxing stance and throws a punch aimed right at Miho's face. He's quick but can't avoid the next hit, and it lands hard. Miho realizes he's up against a serious opponent. With no options left, he flips back, but Shinny's right on his tail, targeting where he'll land. There's a huge boom as Yiseo clears the area below, gearing up to jump into the fight. Meanwhile, Miho's head is spinning after taking that beastly hit. Shiny tells him he's only the second person to ever take her punch. Miho jokingly says he wants to meet the first person for real. She gets pumped, bulking up and tearing her shirt in the process. Miho gets into a defensive stance. For just a second, she blinks and sees Miho floating just out of her reach, which shocks her. Then he blasts fire at Shiny. She tries to block it, but the flames nearly scorch the entire rooftop. She ends up bruised and down on her knees, asking Miho when he landed in this world and why. Miho finally shows his true self and says he wants to find out exactly what her master wants. Turns out Shiny's also a vagrant, and she gets furious, but it's too late because Yuso and her crew show up, telling them to surrender. But instead, Shiny and Miho are just arguing about who brought in the third party. She winds up the banter by teasing him that next time he won't be able to take her hit and jumps off the building, acting like Yiseo is just boring homework. She lands effortlessly, leaving Yiseo stunned at how she can pull that off. Miho pops up right beside her, asking if she wants to know the truth. Yiseo freaks out and her crew aims their guns at him. Miho tells them to chill, saying he's ready to be caught. Miho plops down before the camera and claims he's a 50-year-old man. Yiseo takes a look at his face and tells him to quit lying. Miho spots the camera and instantly throws a cute pose, but Yiseo snaps back asking why he picked a fight with Jung. He shoots it right back at her, asking if she's sure she wants the real story. She pushes harder, pointing out that normal people don't blast flames or hop onto rooftops. He asks again if she seriously wants to know. They ping-pong questions until she finally asks why he gave up so fast, and if he's cooking up some deal. Our boy admits she's sharp for a field leader. She asks what he is. He raises his hand and asks if she truly wants the truth. The lights cut out and Miho reveals he is a nine-tailed fox as fire erupts behind him. He snaps the handcuffs like cheap toys and says you humans aren't the only tenants on this planet. Yiseo instantly aims his gun at him, clearly sensing the walking hazard in front of him. The scene shifts to the slums, where a man begs three thugs near some garbage to be civil. They don't care and say he can move, but only if he stays quiet. He gets beaten badly, and they demand their money. Suddenly, someone steps onto the wall behind them. One thug tells him to leave quietly. The newcomer grabs a baseball bat, and they laugh. Strange energy starts radiating from him. They mock him, asking if he really plans to swing it. He finally speaks, asking if they're scared. A close-up reveals he has only one eye, and the other side of his face has a strange bulging nerve-like growth. The goon keeps running his mouth until a baseball bat shuts him up and blasts him across the field like an actual ball, dropping him 50 meters away. He then tells the rest that if they want to stay alive, they should vanish fast. Cut to Miho's interrogation. Yiseo still thinks Miho is lying. Miho explains that every god in old myths was just a vagrant who slipped into this dimension. She asks if that means they're aliens from somewhere else. He says yes, adding that the god of war was a vagrant of power, greed, and bold guts, and the goddess of love was a vagrant of endless beauty. They come from different ages and places, but they've been living around humans forever. She accepts it, and says she'll just remind him of something he already knows. They are the intel team watching the Yacha gang. She suspects the leader Jungyun of having strange powers. Miho says she's a vagrant too. She asks what powers she has. He tells her that if she had been shot earlier she likely would have grabbed the bullet, and he would never be dumb enough to try that himself. As he says this he snaps his cuffs apart again, making them lift their guns. He then corrects her. Her name isn't Jungyun. Her real name is Duok Shini. Cut to Shini stepping into a quiet room. She bows to someone who mentions hearing about the mess at the club. She says it's nothing worth stressing over. Honestly, the author made this guy way too good-looking for his role. He asks Shiny why she looks so exhausted, and she fires back asking if he really wants to know who made her look that way. The guy brushes it off, saying it doesn't matter. Whoever did that just wanted the government to step in, and they totally succeeded. When Shiny tenses up, he assures her he's not scared of pathetic humans, and warns her about who will take over if she goes around killing people without thinking. He mentions a name and tells her to track the guy down. This dude is a strong vagrant, and Shiny's job is to use him to bring in Haseon. As she leaves, someone named Imugi, lurking in the shadows, comments on Shiny's loyalty, calling her his strength. Imugi's pretty hyped to see just how strong she really is and alludes to some secret stuff Shiny is working on that she'll get recognized for later. Switching scenes, we see the goon basher where more thugs are gathering, cursing at him. He just lights up a smoke before getting ready to take them on. He asks if they're really there to see him smoke or to fight. Then he goes off, attacking with crazy speed and knocking one guy's face. He even nails a sliding blow that takes out all the goons right in the face. This dude fights like it's personal. One goon tries a sneak attack with a sword, but it shatters into pieces, leaving him stunned. The vagrant turns and slaps his elbow into the dude's face, not even bothering to finish him off, but the guy still dares to call him a monster. The vagrant pulls out a baseball bat and swings for the fences, imagining the goon's face as the ball. While he's chilling on top of the beat-up goons, Shiny rolls up with her crew. The goon basher figures out she's also a vagrant, and dares him to come any closer. Shiny cuts to the chase, and offers him a deal he can't ignore. Fast forward 2 days, and our hero is on the move, processing all the heavy stuff Biom just laid on him. BM spilled that 5,000 years ago he was sealed inside the necklace that Hasun's mom gave him. He was just stuck in darkness for an eternity, neither asleep nor awake. Now he wants to piece together what happened during all that time and why the necklace ended up with Hasun. Without it, he can hardly get by. Back to the present, BM is super chill, and our hero asks about that random burst of power he had when he fought Young. He tries to tap into it again, but nothing happens. While munching on some chips, BM says he's definitely human, just a bit off, and it's all because that necklace somehow ended up in his family. When our hero wonders if he might be a vagrant too, BM shoots that down immediately, saying there's no way. Even if he were, he'd just be the weakest one around, and to prove it, he struggles to open a bag of chips. BM mentions that vagrants can sense each other and know when one's nearby. Just as he says that, he stands up and looks behind him. The train's rolling along quietly, and a dark figure steps into their section. BM's eyes light up, signaling caution, but it's that same goon-bashing guy who still doesn't care at all. He seems way too relaxed even though Balam is giving him a death stare, so Balam realizes he can't take this guy on with Hasun in the way. BM grabs our boy and bolts. He pauses when he feels something moving behind him. The vagrant has already jumped up, swinging at him. By the time he swings hard, BM's nowhere in sight. BM and the vagrant lock eyes, and he asks if the dude is just another hitman for the Yacha gang. He lunges at the vagrant with a punch, but the guy dodges. BM quickly follows up with a kick to his face, sending him crashing through the door. BM's riding a rush of power while the battered vagrant wonders why he's never seen BM before. BM shrugs it off, saying it's just because he's new around here. The vagrant grabs a baseball bat and tells BM to shut up, then hurls it at him with insane speed. BM steps up to block it. Using the moment, the vagrant connects with BM's shoulder, and a crack echoes as they collide. He's not finished though. He kicks at BM's face. Suddenly they're outside the train. BM demands to know why this freak is going after some innocent kid. The vagrant smirks and says that the innocent boy is actually his target, which really ticks BM off. The scene shifts to a luxury resort where a woman is chilling in the sun. One of her guys, Fred, asks if the vagrant she hired is any good. She asks if he knows any fairy tales, and he says he remembers too. She goes on to explain that the vagrant is just like those super violent, destructive characters from his stories. Turns out her name is Shinny, and the vagrant's name is Dakabe. Cut to Doc swinging his baseball bat like he's got a serious grudge against BM. BM's having a tough time keeping up with the explosive attacks. Things get really heated as these two powerhouses throw down non-stop. BM starts to feel like Doc is really pushing him. Deciding it's time to end this, BM goes all out, his aura flaring and his nails turning monstrous. Doc can't believe what just happened. It's already too late. BM goes for him with this crazy move, the Pale Mist Claw, and cracks Doc's special bat. Doc quickly tries to defend himself. BM charges at him like a blur while Doc swings his bat, but he's already too late. Doc gets a shock and tries to swing again, but totally misses. Suddenly, BM is right behind him, gathering this wild energy in his arm. Doc totally lost track of him. He turns around just in time to see BM's second attack coming in hot. The new move, the Inferno Claw, tears through Doc, leaving a bloody, fiery trail. Doc coughs up blood and goes crashing onto the train tracks. BM's face goes beet red, and he shuts his eyes thinking he's some kind of action hero. But then the real hero shouts a warning, just as BM gets hit by a train, slamming him against the front window and making him realize how many aura points he just lost in front of Hasun. Now Hasun's all alone, and to make things worse, Doc is starting to wake up. Our hero is sweating like crazy when Doc shows up right in front of him, casually telling him to come along quietly. Doc notices that Hassan looks super scared, and he remembers getting Hassan's details and being told to bring him in. Back then, people back home were acting strange. They knew something was up but only took a little peek, and even Shinny thought it was odd. Still, she told Doc that BM would be the main issue he'd have dragging the kid in. Now at the moment, Doc is just straight up stabbing Hassan in the shoulders. He's thinking about how this weak kid could ever be a threat. The dark mist around them starts acting funny again. Before Doc can even process it, he lands a hard punch on Hassan, who starts bleeding. Doc calls Jason for some backup. Hassan finally shows some fight and bites Doc's arm, but he gets smacked away like a volleyball and crashes to the ground. Panicking, Hassan tries to run, but Doc appears out of nowhere and hits him again, telling him to stop messing around and start walking. Outside the tunnel, BM jumps back with crazy speed, looking dead serious. Inside, Doc's dragging Hassan, who's crying about his bad luck and wondering why everyone seems to want him gone. However, as Hassan pulls on Doc's arm and yells, his eyes light up. Doc catches a glimpse of him leaking some weird energy and curses, but it's too late because Hassan makes his move. As BM gets closer, he feels a heavy energy and thinks maybe it's another stray, but this one feels off to him. Back with Doc, he's losing it and can't believe what's happening. His weapon drops, and he feels his joints cracking. As Hasun pushes his spell, Doc's bones break and he crumples to the floor, screaming. Hasun casts another spell and it dives into Doc's memories. Suddenly, he finds himself in a void, remembering when he wanted to help the sick and broken. He questions if he's even the same guy anymore. Back in reality, all the malice drains from his eyes. A train almost hits him, but he barely jumps out of the way. Now there's a bigger monster staring him down, and Doke knows he's done for. As the train rolls past, Doke spots Biome's body glowing with a fierce energy. Biome's furious at Doke for even touching Haseon, totally unaware of how much Haseon has already messed him up. The scene shifts outside the lab, where Imugi brings Shinny along, and they run into that weird guy from earlier. Imugi can tell right off the bat that the experiment worked, and the guy outright admits it. Turns out he's Haseon too, a famous doctor that Shinny never thought she'd actually meet. He breaks down the whole process pretty simply. They took Haseon's DNA, tossed it into a test kit, and just waited to see how the body reacted. Imugi asks how the results turned out, and the doc says they were insane. Better strength, stamina, reflexes, and healing. Imugi jokes about feeling jealous, but the doc quickly points out the downside. Those boosts don't last long, and the kid goes back to normal in a day. To get the full benefits from what the body produces, they'll need the real deal. Imugi catches on right away. They need to bring Haseon here. He asks how the test subject is doing, and the doc mentions that the failed implant left the kid in pretty rough shape. Imugi doesn't care and asks the doc to wake the kid up since he wants to say hi. The doc powers him up while complaining that in 2,000 years of research he's never seen anyone hold power like this, wondering if it's some kind of divine influence. Imugi cracks a joke, saying maybe it's a warning instead. Suddenly, the test subject wakes up in a rage, and Imugi's just standing there like he's been waiting for this moment. The guy starts spitting insults, and Imugi fires back, mentioning his awful mouth, hinting at some backstory. The guy's so furious he cracks the window and starts yelling about wanting to kill Imugi. The doc freaks out, but Imugi just smirks. The subject charges at Imugi, screaming like he thinks he's a god. Shinny's eyes light up and she jumps in right away, smashing him before he can reach Imugi. The lab goes crazy as she chases him down and he's surrounded by dark energy. Imugi just watches the chaos, disappointed because he was only looking for a solution, not a full-blown fight. Imugi starts to take off his gloves, raises his hand, and lightning zaps across his fingers. Before Shinny can react, he fires a blast at the subject that hits hard enough to turn him to smoke and ash. Shinny's left stunned by how quickly it all goes down. Imugi steps up to the massive hole he made with just one hit and says he's not a god, he's here to challenge them. While the enemies get ready to throw down, Biome is on a ship battling with seagulls trying to steal his shrimp chips, swatting them away with his claws while our boy is still out cold. He remembers when Biome asked why he stopped him from going after Duck, and our boy said it was because Duck already has a place where he's needed. The scene shifts to those same slums where Doc is stumbling through the streets, drenched in blood. People rush to him as he finally collapses, and it's obvious they're the ones he's been fighting for all this time. Back at the lab, Shiny gets a call and tells Imugi that Doc messed up trying to grab Haseon. She decides to handle it herself, but Imugi jumps in and says he'll go instead. She's a bit shocked, but he gives her a sly grin, saying he hasn't felt this excited in ages and that his heart is racing. Meanwhile, our hero's ship lands on a totally deserted island. He explains it's Baikwa Island, where he lived until he was 7, even though he can't really recall anything about the place. Beam urges him to take the lead, but our boy snaps back, telling Beam to follow him since it's his island. As they explore deeper, he realizes everything has changed. Even his memories don't match what's around, and he starts to wonder if something went down here. He remembers racing through those paths with friends and hearing his mom calling him back home, but when he sees their old house in ruins, he's shocked. Biam quickly points out that it wasn't just a regular fire, and looks like a vagrant's doing. Out of nowhere, the nymph of Baikwa appears, watching them. Curious, Biam asks Haseon about his mom. Haseon says she was a respected shaman. After she passed, people started whispering she had revealed too much about nature. Biam asks how she died, but Haseon can't remember, no matter how hard he tries. Then all of a sudden he gets a flash. Imugi is throwing lightning at his mom's house. He wonders if that memory is legit, and if Imugi's somehow involved. Biam tells him to chill and calls out to whoever's lurking around. A sneaky dude pops up, looking smug, muttering about how these explorers seem to have some powers. Biam tells him to stop being creepy. The guy vanishes, then reappears further away, accusing Biam of stealing minerals from the island. Biam calmly questions why he's talking with his back turned. The vagrant replies that the back defines a person. That line hits Hassan hard, triggering a memory of someone grabbing his back. Biam asks the old man who he really is. The vagrant teases him, quickly jumping behind them before taking a fighting stance, ready to show them what he's got. Biam cracks his knuckles, saying he might look young, but he's the only elder in the room. He charges first, calling himself the Korean god of the brawl. The vagrant gets ready, eager to see if the legends hold true. He swings, but Biam glides past and slips behind him. The old man grins, saying that's exactly where he wants him. He strikes again, but Biam keeps dodging, teasing him about being too slow. The vagrant gets annoyed and tries to slap him, but Biam avoids it. Eventually Biam lands a hit across his back, causing clear damage. The old man winces and admits he's starting to get who Biam is, but still mockingly says he expected more from those skinny legs. Biam freezes, irritated, and warns the old man that he's really not in a place to talk. He slashes twice at lightning speed and asks if that still feels weak, insisting the old man repeat what he said about his legs. Byum points out he can see the old man's moves before he even thinks of them. With the vagrant now bruised and stumbling, Byum steps up asking if he's ready to spill the beans on who he really is. The old man stays quiet for a moment, then his hand bursts with energy. Suddenly a massive stone structure shoots up from the ground and slams into Byum's face, sending him flying. The vagrant straightens up, grinning, and asks if they're still curious about his identity. More stone pillars erupt around them as he gets ready. The old vagrant lifts his head and announces that the real fight starts now. Byum adjusts his jaw after taking a solid hit and gets annoyed when he spots the old vagrant showing off his muscles. He quietly goes after the guy, unaware that the old vagrant has set up another sneak attack. Suddenly the ground starts to split open, and out pop these wild, messed up Sigma-face structures. Byum quickly figures out that this guy is blocking him with those things. Then one of those structures slams into him right in the balls, so bad that his sperm production department officially quits on him, and he crumples over. The old man introduces himself as Jang Sung, and Byum is taken aback when he suddenly recognizes him as his old vagrant. Even Jang seems a bit thrown as he remembers Hassan. Byum asks if they know each other, and Jang finally connects the dots that Hassan is there. He squeezes Hassan's cheeks, saying he missed him so much. Jang takes Byum through a strange passage and says someone's waiting for him. Inside, Byum finds a picture of his mom that hits him hard, but Jang keeps it chilled and leads them to his place. Byum asks why he started a fight without properly introducing himself. Jang shoots him a harsh look, still feeling the pain from those claw marks. However, Jang lights up when he sees Haseon, finally feeling some relief after worrying for 10 years. Byum asks how his mom died, and Jang prompts him to remember the storm, the lightning strike, and some shady guy watching from afar. Then he fills in the blanks. Back in the day, his mom was involved with a dangerous guy, a wannabe dragon, and realized there was no way to stop him, so she focused on keeping her kids safe instead. She handed little Haseon a family necklace and made him promise to protect it. He didn't fully understand back then, but she had faith that he could handle whatever came next. Now Jang finally drops the name, the Imugi. Just hearing it sends chills down Byum's spine. Meanwhile, a scared vagrant is sprinting through a bunch of tall buildings, chased by Miho, who's calm but radiating power. Miho tells him to trust him, insisting he only wants to talk. The snake-faced vagrant collapses, bleeding and shaking. Miho demands to know where Byum is, the one he accidentally awakened as the poor guy keeps bleeding out. Miho is chatting with Yuseo, the intel girl, about this old legend where the Bear Clan and Tiger Clan were duking it out for control of the land. She reminisces about the founding myth, adding that while it's all a bit exaggerated, people tend to overlook who really led that epic showdown. Miho reveals that Byum is the god of the brawl, and the leader of the Tiger Clan. When Yuseo asks if the Bear Clan came out on top, Miho confirms they did, but Byum mysteriously disappears right before the final round, giving the bears a major advantage, and letting them wrap things up quickly. Yuseo wonders if they're currently hunting Byum, and Miho says yes, explaining that the Yacha gang broke his seal and wants to use him. They need to take action because even if the gang manages to bring Byum over to their side, they might end up needing to take him out. Meanwhile, Byum looks like he could take on anyone, facing off against a giant bear. He throws his classic claw slash, and when the bear gives up, he strikes a victory pose. But he's still not convinced this bear is the top vagrant. Then Jang douses him with water, trying to give him some waterfall vibes. Jang thinks there's real power in Byum, but it's buried under a lot of rust. Byum agrees he's noticed that too, and that's how their training kicks off. The first day is all about running. The first week involves light deadlifts, healthy food, and steady workouts. Byum realizes he needs to embrace this power while staying calm to manage it. But then thoughts of Sojin, Young, and Dok pop into his head, totally ruining his peace of mind. Suddenly, a dark memory hits him. An Imugi wrecking his home, and trash-talking the Bear Clan, calling it a burnt-out ruin. Back then, little Haseon wanted to rush into the flames, but someone held him back. Now his eyes flash red, and he's got this heavy feeling that something bad happened to Haseon. Jang quickly wraps Byum in a hug as he goes off from all that dark energy. Both of them realize the dead vagrant's power Haseon absorbed is messing with his mind. Jang can't believe this is really Haseon. He's giving off some serious raw rage. Byum keeps drawing in that dark energy until he's strong enough to break Jang's hold and lunges at Byum. Byum dodges just in time. Haseon strikes again, and Byum starts to wonder how he got so good all of a sudden. He grabs Haseon's arms and begs Jang to do something before Haseon completely loses control. But Jang's frozen, staring into Haseon's eyes, which aren't even his anymore. They've got to snap Haseon out of this dark energy's grip, or he'll get lost forever. Byum puts in all his effort to push Haseon away, and Jang jumps in to help, turning it into a tag team situation. He tells Byum he might have heard the old tale about some Arcanum passed to the nymph of the Bear Clan. Byum spins around and gives Jang a solid smack. He's shocked that Haseon can not only handle the dead vagrant's power but actually use it. That means he's the living cub of the Bear Clan. Haseon lunges at Beam, grabbing his throat. Beam fights back, clawing at Haseon's throat, and it turns into a neck-and-neck struggle, like a pro wrestling match. Jang yells at Beam, asking how he can let anything take control. Deep in his mind, he's having a conversation with his mother, asking who killed her. She tells him that some things can't be controlled, and knows he's facing a lot of cruelty. Even if he feels she's far away, she's always watching, and it hits him hard. Finally, he blasts out the dark energy, and everything snaps back to normal. Beam stares wide-eyed at Haseon and says he's carrying 5,000 years of raw power. At night, while everyone's taking it easy at Jung's place, a girl sneaks in quietly. Her plan goes off without a hitch, and she lunges at Balum with her sharp claws. Just as she's about to land a hit, an explosion jolts Balum awake, leaving her a little disoriented. The goofy guy shows up, and the vagrant girl goes off on him for messing up her attack. Jang's freaking out, still wearing his eye mask and not able to see anything. Beum is really ticked off. These attackers just wrecked his awesome dream. He warns them that they won't make it back alive. Meanwhile, outside, our hero is grinding away training against tall structures. He suddenly realizes all this chaos is happening because he's from the Bear clan. Just then, someone attacks him out of nowhere, but thankfully he manages to block it. Another enemy closes in behind him, trapping him. A third guy rolls in with a flaming hand and blasts fire at our hero, who ducks just in time. This beast, a vagrant, looks down at him with a mix of pity and amusement. One of his buddies wants to take Haseon, and our hero is confused about who these guys even are. He decides to face them solo, but one vagrant decides to take a swing at him to test his strength. Back at Jang's house, Jang is holding his own and seems to be taking down the big guy with little effort. The girl notices him, but Beam jumps in, landing some serious damage on her. It turns out she has some crazy healing powers. She warns Beam that he's picking a fight with the wrong person. Beam's losing it, asking about Hassan and putting the pieces together that they might be Yacha lackeys. The girl isn't flattered by his compliment, and says they're actually a bunch of assassins. Beam figures that if they've got a girl with regeneration and a dude who brushes off punches, they must be a distraction to kidnap Hassan. Things are heating up now. Meanwhile, Hassan is barely keeping up as his opponent, who's like a living lightning bolt, throws punches and kicks. He struggles to dodge. The guy even snaps a selfie while landing a kick right to Hassan's face. Our hero is at a loss on how to handle this weirdo. Another vagrant steps in, telling the other to take a breather while he takes his turn beating Haseon up. Our hero wonders what he did to deserve this shift. As the vagrant swings his sharp claws about to strike, our boy plans to use Young's powers. Out of nowhere, the attacker glitches out. His buddy tells him to stop fooling around, but then the vagrant suddenly snaps every bone in his body and crumples to the floor. Our guy powers up, leaving the other vagrant in shock. But our hero knows this one won't play nice, even with powers, because he's super fast. The vagrant charges and our boy grabs his leg, blocking him, and then lands a hard hit right on his head, sending him crashing down. It feels like he's gliding, and he turns to the last vagrant, daring him to take a shot. They're trying to figure out how Haseon's powers really work. He can pull people in and use their abilities at the same time, which is exactly why Imugi wants him. While the vagrant attacks, we dash into Jang's house, where Beom is laying into the sassy vagrant without holding back. Jang jumps in, throws a rock at Baldy, and sends him flying. The attackers are starting to sweat. The healer girl gives Baldy a boost, and he suddenly looms over Beom and Jang. She tells him to take out Jang first. Back with our main guy, he's playing it smart until he sees an opening and starts whacking the vagrant, making him look foolish. But Hassan's getting worn out quickly. The vagrant takes notice and hits hard, landing some serious damage. He comes from behind and wraps chains around Hassan. When our hero drops helplessly, the vagrant slams his claw beside him and asks if taking him out now will make the stolen powers come out to play. The boss tells him to back off, but the vagrant claims he's done with Imugi. The boss tells him to stop with the drama, but the vagrant pulls out his weapon, announcing his rebellion. Meanwhile, back at home, Baldy's gone wild but gets quickly humbled by a team combo. The healer calls him a trash fighter and tries to buff him again. Beam scoops her up mid-spell and tells her that even a vagrant can't survive a beheading. She's shocked, but her moment's cut short because she's already out of the game. Back to our hero. The vagrant attackers start brawling with each other. The boss gathers power for a punch to put his junior in his place, but the rebel dodges mid-air. Another punch comes in and knocks him down. The boss reminds him that he made his choice and turns his attention to our main guy. Suddenly, power surges into him and freezes him in place. The rebel vagrant has used a power just like Young's. Then he strolls over to our hero, who's lying there like he's on a break from his main character duties. He grabs Hassan's hair and claims he's his new partner, warning that if he tries anything smart, he'll be picking his tendons off the floor. Out of nowhere, a huge monstrous hand comes down and just snaps the vagrant's neck. Back at Jang's place, Beom and Jang are totally shocked by this surprise attack in the middle of the night. Beom asks about Haseon, and the old man thinks they should check on him but believes he's doing fine. Then dark energy starts leaking out of the dead vagrants. The old man can't wrap his head around the fact that Haseon is absorbing it, wondering what's happening outside. Outside, the rebel vagrant gets squashed by the boss's hit. He can't believe his skill didn't work against the boss. The boss, full of demonic energy, laughs at how pathetic the rebel's earlier skills were compared to his true power. He grabs the rebel by the face, and the vagrant is shaking in fear. Once he kills him, all that dark energy gets sucked right into our hero. The boss is shocked. Energy starts swirling around our hero like a tornado, and he begins to transform into a vagrant. The boss yells if there's more energy to suck up, but our hero just stares him down, fearless. His body begins to heal, and his fists turn to iron. He wonders where these new powers are coming from. The boss, now annoyed and worried, sees our hero roar and charge at him mid-attack. Meanwhile, Biome and Jang are running toward our boy, hoping he's okay. But then the clash ends badly, leaving our hero down for the count. The boss gives him props for managing to do some damage. Our hero writhes in pain as the boss grabs him, lecturing that vagrants run on a whole different energy level. He tells him to stop struggling and give up, reminding him Imugi is waiting. Hearing about Imugi gets our boy fired up, and he roars while grabbing the boss's arm. The boss snaps, claiming that Haseon is still weak even at full power. Looking aside, he sees daggers floating in the air aimed right at him. Now the boss is begging our hero to knock it off. The daggers hit, piercing him, but he still manages to slam them away with a powerful burst. He boasts about being invincible and tells our hero to quit resisting. Our boy is also building up aura. He snatches a dagger and puts all his energy into a single strike, landing some serious damage. But the boss isn't done yet. He lashes out with chains that surprisingly hit nothing. Out of nowhere, our hero is in the boss's face and lands a massive blow that shatters it. Stepping on him, our hero keeps the dagger buried and starts punching with sheer force. Blood flies everywhere as he relentlessly beats down the boss, his fingers almost breaking but saved by insane regeneration. The crafty boss laughs, daring our hero to think this is the end. But as our hero realizes he's in control, he slams the boss's head with a crackling force. He screams for him to die and keeps pounding away. Beam and Jang are frozen right behind him, and Beam asks the old man who this kid really is. The boss's head is practically a puddle now, and Haseon's face is covered in blood. Even Beam is starting to get scared of our hero. The scene switches to Doc chilling in the slums, leaning against the wall and thinking about what Haseon said about family and the people he's supposed to protect. Suddenly, the door to his place swings open, and a guy tells him someone's outside waiting. When Doc checks it out, he gets hit with bad news. Our supervillain Imugi shows up and casually asks where Haseon is. Doc confidently says he has no idea. He can't go after him because he's hurt. Imugi cools down and asks one more thing. Why is he rounding up all the vagrants here? Doc looks worried and says they're just lost souls with no direction. Imugi smirks and says that's exactly the problem. Each vagrant needs a job that matches their powers. Doc doesn't get what he's on about. Imugi, being all cocky, says he's taking them all and giving them something worthwhile to do. Doc realizes his situation is pretty grim. Then a bunch of goofy vagrants show up, making it easy for Imugi to swoop in. Doc pleads with Imugi to back off. Imugi reassures him that they won't hurt anyone, just take them to a lab for some special treatment. Blowing up, Doc calls Imugi a bastard and charges at him. Shuni sees this and gets ready to back Doc up, but Imugi holds her off, saying Doc will be his warm-up. Doc throws a powerful hit, but Imugi dodges it effortlessly. He even tells Doc that Haseon's off on a southern island where her mom is buried. Doc realizes Imugi's just messing with him. Imugi, acting all cocky, doubts Doc's strength, saying he's overestimating him. After blocking a blow, he adds that Doc won't catch Bayam with that kind of weak sauce. Imugi then supercharges Doc's weapon, giving him a shock of electricity. Doc's crew flips out and breaks free to save him. Imugi pulls off his gloves, and Doc knows things are about to get real ugly, so he yells at his crew to stop. Unfortunately, the innocent vagrants get zapped right away, and Imugi seems pleased as they're burned to ash. Doc tears up with regret, feeling helpless as he watches. Imugi sarcastically expresses sorrow for his test subjects getting fired because of Doc's screw-up. But now Doc is filled with rage. He swears he won't lose his family again, and promises to make Imugi cry blood for what he's done. Doc powers up and Imugi's eyes widen at his new look. Doc sprouts a horn and goes into a berserk mode, but Imugi doesn't care. He drops a brutal line while taking a hit, saying Doc never really had a family, he's just another vagrant, tossed aside like trash. Then he lifts his fist, ready to hit back like it's no big deal. We flash back to Doc's past, where a bandit asks about their plan. Doc tells them to hang tight and casually suggests splitting the loot, acting like he's doing them a big favor. One guy can't believe he's actually giving away that precious grain, and they all start thanking him like he's some kind of hero. But the next thing they know, they're hanging from a tree, begging him to take everything if it means they can live. Later on, Doc's sitting at a table, feasting with them as if nothing ever happened. They call him Chief and want to know what's next after sharing a meal. Doc shrugs and says they'll just rob those filthy nobles again because they always have money. Fast forward a bit, and Doc's trying to take out Imugi, but he suddenly remembers he doesn't want anything anymore. Everyone knows who he is now, and with his crew, he's ripping off the bad guys and keeping it all for himself. We go back again and it looks like a day full of tragedy. Their whole area is burning down. Enemies and every little villain who hates them rush in, weapons swinging everywhere. Dok is on fire and yells out Mokwa. That's his wife. He claims he'll carve a path for them and tells everyone to follow, but then he sees his guy Mihoding begging for help. In desperation, Mihoding asks Dok what any of this means. He tells Dok to get out of there. Dok finds Mokwa, but she's hurt really badly. In a panic, he calls her name, and then he notices shells falling right towards them. He doesn't run, instead he jumps in front of her to shield her. The troops storm into the flames to make sure everyone burns, but Dok takes control and walks out swinging, not leaving a single person unscathed since they took everything from him. As he spots his fallen friends, his rage skyrockets, and he hurls the attackers back into the flames to wipe out any trace of them. But not everything is lost, his wife is still alive. He asks if she's hungry, and she says she's fine, just can't feel her legs. For a moment Dok freezes, and then reassures her he'll be her legs for life. Meanwhile, the enemy chief lurking behind all this chaos is still alive, grinning smugly at the burning scene. A lot of time passes, and winter rolls in. Dok keeps moving, hoping to finally find a place that feels like home. He watches planes zooming through the sky and realizes humans have gotten way stronger than any vagrant he ever met. Eventually Mokwa tells him to take a break. Dok insists they need to find shelter before the snow gets them. Mokwa says her youth feels like a fading dream. She's aging fast, while Dok looks exactly the same. He reassures her she's still the same as when they first met. He wonders if he's turning into a ghost, and she says no way a ghost shares grain with starving folks. Only a deity does that. She tells him to keep living and looking after everyone, saying her life gets interesting just because she met him. Then suddenly Mokwa stops talking and moving. Dok realizes she's gone and breaks down. He promises to wake her up once they get going again, but that moment never comes. Now back in time, he swears he'll never lose his family again. Imugi shoots a blast of lightning straight into Dok's chest. Time pauses as they stare at each other, chaos swirling in their heads. Then Dok drops. Imugi tells Shinny that Dok might still be useful and she should take him. Shinny asks what to do about the village, and Imugi grins, telling her to just burn it. After it's done, Imugi stands among the ruins with a smile, watching it all go up in flames. On Baekwa Island, Miho shows up and confidently says that their target is definitely around. He catches some sounds and looks closer, realizing what he's actually seeing. A long-haired, muscular guy who moves with a crazy amount of power. Miho thinks that energy is unreal. He's staring at Jang, the Korean god of brawl, the top vagrant out there. Jang flashes his strength and Miho is convinced it's Baebul. Jang takes out his earbuds saying he loves that part of the song. Behind him, the intel commander asks Miho if that hyped-up guy really is Biome. Miho responds that he's absolutely sure. Just then, the log underneath Jang shifts and reveals their hiding spot, asking who they think they are. Meanwhile, in Haseon's lab, something intense is happening. Dok is strapped into a vessel and hooked up to a drug. Haseon is excited, gushing about how great this is. It's been ages since she dealt with a specimen like this. Shiny starts realizing that Haseon has gone a bit off the deep end. Haseon mentions she needs to keep things under control because if the subject goes wild, it could spell disaster. Shiny tells her to reach out if things go sideways. Haseon appreciates that and shares how her team failed to capture Haseon. Shiny processes this and acknowledges that she just learned about it recently. Still, she warns her to be cautious since Imugi will take care of it himself. Haseon laughs, apologizing for her eagerness, and says she can't wait to try out a bunch of ideas once she gets her hands on that kid. Back on Baekwa Island, Miho tries to calm Jang down, insisting he's not an enemy. Jang fires back, saying they were spying just days ago and now they're out in the open. Miho is confused, so Jang goes quiet for a second, then lunges at him. Miho dodges and smirks, impressed. Jang tells him to get ready for round 2. He strikes again, but Miho avoids every attempt. Jang thinks it's cool that the kid's pretty good, and jokes that he looks like a bunny rabbit. Miho insists they need to talk since things are way too risky. Jang brushes him off, claiming he doesn't chat with enemies. Then he uses his strength to knock over the log Miho's on. Jang gets mad and decides to pull down all the logs, shoving them with all his might while yelling for Miho to choke on them. Realizing he can't stop Jang, Miho bolts. Jang laughs, believing it's pointless to run. Miho notices he's starting to really tick Jang off and responds by attacking with fire. Jang is taken aback and shouts that the kid has fire, letting it hit his arms. Miho insists it's not the time for a brawl, and suddenly Jang gets blinded by the light and drops to his knees. Miho encircles him with flames and doesn't douse them. Jang opens his eyes, sees the fire below him, and starts jumping around. Miho asks if they can talk now. Biome hears the commotion and comes over, asking who Miho is. Jang tells Biome he's just arrived, and Miho's stunned to finally see the real Biome. Jang claims Miho tried to sneak an attack while he was zoned out. Miho is totally baffled by that. Biome shows his claws, asking if Miho wants to die, saying he could end things in one hit. Miho grins and brings up the Yacha gang. Right then, our hero drops a bombshell about them being the same crew that had Young kill her friend Seojin. Everyone freezes, shocked. Miho asks Hassan if he knows the Yacha clan is after him. Biom tells Miho to explain. Miho says as vagrants have been disappearing one by one, he's been wandering around trying to track them down. Plenty of his friends are missing, and there are others eyeing a power grab for this land. Behind it all are people hiding as chaebols or gang members, but they're all puppets of a vagrant with insane power, Imugi. Our hero goes still at hearing that old enemy's name. When they get to Jang's place, the old man tells Miho that Biom is the final obstacle in Imugi's way. Miho thinks it's crazy how Imugi sees Biom as just this last wall before his big dream is within reach. Inside, Biom's soaking up all the attention, and Miho can't figure out how that guy got so strong. Jang adds that Hassan is actually the missing piece of the whole situation. Hassan says once Imugi gets his absorption ability, he'll take out Biom without even thinking twice. Jang explains that if Imugi gains Biom's power, no one will stand a chance against him. Miho pipes up and says he's not backing down this time. No matter what happens, even if it means facing death, he'll fight till the end. Jang notices how much Hassan has changed since the day she lost her mom. But even then he tells her that Imugi is already stronger than anyone there. Hassan asks if that's supposed to include Biom. Just then both Biom and Miho sense something rushing at them. Out of nowhere, these strange creatures attack. Jang grumbles, annoyed that they just finished fixing the house. The guys pull out their claws and charge after the monsters, and Shinny shows up, acting all tough like she can handle it by herself. Miho can't believe she came alone. Then another voice cuts in. It's Imugi. He's grinning, calling them idiots. To him the night is perfect for rewriting history. Hassan sees Imugi and instantly realizes he's the guy who caused her mom's death. Imugi brushes past her and says they've got a special gift for them. When Mugiho sees the creatures, it hits him hard. Those are actually his old friends, and they've been turned into Imugi's lab rats. Mugiho calls out to Black Tiger, but Black Tiger snaps back at him. Imugi just laughs and unleashes a wave of energy, treating the whole thing like a sweet reunion. The blast obliterates Mugiho's friend right in front of him, and he's left frozen in shock. Imugi mocks him, asking for his friend's name, while the other minions rush Miho. The place fills up with these twisted creatures, and they overwhelm him fast. But Biom jumps in with sharp, clean strikes, cutting through the minions. Jang dives in too, with his statue smashing enemies left and right. Miho charges in as well, punching and throwing strikes fueled by rage. Watching Miho fight tirelessly, Imugi grins and even gives him props for his bravery. But when Miho tries to absorb the minion's power, nothing happens. Turns out Hassan, who made these test subjects, made sure Hassan couldn't absorb them at all. Imugi, wanting to raise the stakes, calls out the next monster. He's excited because he finally knows what's coming next. Then the same serpent monster shows up. As soon as Imugi tells it to go, it shoots its snakes at Miho, biting him instantly. The monster is pumped about it, saying he's been itching to kill Hassan, but Imugi promised him something better if he let her live. Right then, Imugi blasts the serpent monster, claiming he just wants to give it a new life. The blast turns the creature to ashes right in front of Miho. The vagrant dies in the most pathetic way, and all that energy gets sucked right into our hero. Pain rips through him as the poison spreads. He feels every toxin burning inside him. Jang and Biom are freaking out, while Imugi watches with pure joy. Imugi tells Shinny to grab Hassan, and she doesn't even hesitate before going for it. Meanwhile, Miho is sitting there feeling sorry for himself, apologizing to his dead friend for letting him down. The old Jang yells at Miho to snap out of it and protect Hassan. Finally, Miho gets his act together and vows that those guys will regret what they've done. Shinny leaps at Miho, but he throws up his Miho art and a fiery wall just in time. She calls him a damn firefox and warns him that his little tricks won't fly with her. And just like that, the fight breaks out between Miho and Shinny. Miho's heated, ready to torch her and all of her friends. While that's going down, Jang grabs Haseon and hightails it out of there. Shinny laughs, saying Miho looks pretty sexy when he's angry. Miho throws a question at her about how she can be okay with her friends dying. Shinny just smirks back, saying she doesn't care since in this world only the strong survive. Miho notices she's gone from trying to be a tough boxer to just plain crazy. He mocks her, saying it's her last chance to use her powers, and she better enjoy it while she can, and she fires back by calling him Baby Fox. This is where things really kick off. She hurls a heavy punch, and Miho barely blocks it, stunned by the sheer power behind it. Shinny doesn't hold back. She follows up with a nasty leg slam, and Miho finds himself stuck defending non-stop, getting knocked around. Shinny is cackling like a total maniac. She swings again, knocking Miho off balance, and when he drops, she jumps right on him for another hit. Annoyed and out of breath, Miho realizes he can't just keep running. It's time to fight back. He powers up, his eyes glowing red, and his whole demeanor shifts to something wild. He's clearly using everything he's got left. With a laugh, he pulls out the Miho art called Howling Amber Blade, transforming into something more beast than human. He roars that he'll burn everything in his path. He shoots upward, daggers forming in his hands as a shockwave erupts. Shinny stumbles back, furious and surprised, but it's too late. Miho is all over her with those daggers, hitting her from every angle. She's furious now but still taking some hits. Miho keeps the heat on, but she kicks at his face. He's too quick, ducking under it and striking back. They face off again, both determined. Miho charges in again, but this time, Shini grabs his arm. He struggles against her grip, but it feels like steel. She laughs, pleased she finally has him, and dares him to escape. Miho challenges her to try, but she slams her forehead into him, throwing him to the ground. She tells him to get back up, clearly eager to see what else he's got. Running low on energy and covered in blood, Miho sees Imugi step in, who can't help but comment on how this feels like déjà vu. Imugi reminisces about the old year of the snake and chuckles smugly. Miho looks worried as Imugi brings up a blood-soaked, limping fox from 500 years ago that Miho can't believe he remembers. He recalls the monster hunt that wrecked the city, led by none other than Imugi. Imugi says it took them ages to move past that. Miho asks what Imugi got out of it. Imugi explains that humans brought shame upon their kind, so the retaliation was deserved. Miho shoots back, calling that nonsense and pointing out how many friends were lost because of it. Imugi argues that living alongside humans is pointless if they outlive them by thousands of years. Furious and crackling with energy, Miho yells that if he can't kill Imugi tonight, nothing else matters. Using the art of Kamiho, he goes berserk and unleashes his ultimate move, Heavenly Fox Advent. His body lights up as he prepares to take down Imugi. Sheni tries to step in but is thrown aside. Facing the ramped-up Miho, Imugi stays cool, calling it lovely. The two get ready to battle as the monster hunt kicks off for real. Miho yells that he's gonna get revenge for his friends, even if it means he has to go down today. Imugi starts cracking up, saying he hasn't seen such a big display of loyalty in ages. Miho tries to make a move, but nothing happens. Imugi tells him it's over, he controls the wind and rain, and there's no way Miho can beat him with fire. Then Shini jumps in and takes Miho down with one hit. Imugi asks if Miho has any final words. Out of nowhere, Dang shows up behind Imugi, shouting for him to stop. Meanwhile, Shini flies up behind Jang, trash-talking him like he's useless. When Jang turns to see the mess he got into, Imugi zaps him with lightning, and Jang goes down screaming in pain. Imugi laughs and tells Jang to crawl back into his corner, just like when he messed up Hasun's mom and stomped on Jang's skull. He plans to finish Jang off and take Hasun for himself. Jang can only curse back, but Imugi gets distracted and notices Bingham is already charging at him. Bingham lands a punch right on Imugi's face. Suddenly Shini yells at Bingham, claiming she's his real rival, not Imugi. Bingham isn't having it. He takes her out with a super fast blow, saying he doesn't have time to deal with her too. He slams her down, wrecking her face like it's nothing. Now Bingham grabs Shini's horn, and Imugi's shocked by his power. Imugi throws the horn back at her, but then he breaks into wild laughter for some reason. The next moment he realizes Biome is already on him again. Biome keeps throwing punches, asking if Imugi still finds any of this funny, or if he thinks it's just some game. He sneaks behind Imugi and slashes his back with razor-sharp claws. Imugi can't believe how fast Biome is moving. No time to think though, because Biome's attacking again. Imugi shoots out lightning, creating a huge explosion. For a second, Imugi thinks he's finally hurt him, but that grin disappears the instant he senses Biome right behind him. Before he can even react, a claw slices through his ear and rips right into him. Blood streams down Imugi's face as Biome, with steely determination in his eyes, declares he might finally shut Imugi up. But Imugi just laughs, saying that even after being locked away for so long, Biome is still scary. Biome wonders if he's met Imugi before. Imugi, covered in blood and still chuckling, tells him to look closer and remember. Biome starts piecing it together that Imugi used to be the Bear Clan's guardian. Imugi presses him to make sure he remembers. Biome confirms that he does, adding that Imugi was useless back then too. Suddenly a bright pulse appears in front of Biome. Imugi instantly gets restored as dark energy explodes from him. He reminisces about how Biome was once seen as the strongest but still lost, leaving only stories behind. Imugi rises into the air, enveloped in darkness. The hole Biome punched in him seals up like it was never there. Massive tentacles and serpents burst out from Imugi's transformed body, and he laughs down at Biome. Imugi talks about how Biome slept for 5,000 years and crushed anyone who dared to get in his way. Biome just smirks, calling it a cute trick. That sets Imugi off, and he releases his devil serpents. Biome tries to tear them apart, but they wrap tightly around his arms. Imugi mocks him, asking what he thinks he can do with just his claws. More monstrous serpents appear, and start tearing into Biome, biting his skin. Biome is annoyed, calling them worthless strings. Imugi taunts him, questioning if brute strength can really solve everything, especially now. He raises his hand, and even more monsters pop out of the ground. Now Biome actually looks worried. Imugi smirks, not realizing Biome has already handled the serpents, but Biome charges at him anyway. They clash, power against power. Just as they get close, Imugi unleashes another wave of serpents. Biome ducks into a defensive stance, but he still gets hit. He mutters that in a fight between a dragon and a tiger, the one who can't fly is bound to lose. Imugi lashes out with serpents and sweat drips down Biome's face. Imugi yells, questioning how Biome could ever be better than him. Biome's eyes flicker yellow, and Imugi screams for him to die. Lightning strikes, nearly overwhelming him. Biome hits the ground but then gets lifted by a serpent around his neck. Imugi asks why she chose such a mediocre pawn, laughing coldly and calling Biome a loser with an inferiority complex. Biome responds by crushing the serpents. Imugi totally loses it, demanding to know what that was all about. He tightens the coil, vowing to make Biome beg for death before he slams him into the ground with brutal force. Pain erupts in Biome's body. Imugi pummels him non-stop, shouting for him to give up. More serpents dig into Biome's flesh. Even Biome can feel himself fading. Imugi slams him into the earth again, glaring down with vicious eyes. He loosens the serpents and sends one for Biome's throat, convinced he's already won. He calls it Biome's punishment, and summons thunder once more. Lightning crashes down, creating a huge explosion. Imugi laughs, insisting that all that talk was pointless, and pulls the serpents back as smoke rises. In the haze, Imugi is confused about what's happening until suddenly, one serpent gets ripped apart. He snaps back to reality, demanding to know where Biome is. Then out of the smoke, Biome grabs Imugi's arm with a grip so tight he can't move. Biome stands right in front of him, eyes pitch black with a golden glow, and calls Imugi a slippery fish pretending to be a dragon. Imugi gets angry, but it's too late. Biome says he'll show him what a tiger can do. He strikes with incredible force, sending Imugi flying like a rag doll. Before Imugi even lands, Biome is right on him again, delivering a crushing blow that buries Imugi in the ground. He collapses like a puppet with its strings cut, blood dripping from his mouth. But he still laughs, claiming he's been fighting non-stop. Biome charges again, and Imugi remembers how Biome was sealed away for 5,000 years and still won't go down. He sees raw power in Biome's eyes as his strikes hit like a tiger's roar, freezing Imugi in place. Imugi's expression tightens, and a massive blast sends Biome flying backward. He strides through the dust cloud, but then something strange hits him, throwing him off balance. It feels like something is rushing through the air. He raises his guard. As the smoke clears, Imugi stands tall, motioning for Biome to come closer. His eyes are darker and deadlier than before. He opens a third eye, showing his final form. In a cold, threatening voice, he declares that Biome will die here. Biome realizes Imugi has transformed into an Acacian, a corrupted vagrant that's turned into a demon of destruction. The three-eyed Imugi stalks towards Biome, looking like he's ready to wreak havoc. Biome backpedals, grimacing at that new eye on Imugi's forehead. Old Jang instantly knows they're in serious trouble. He remembers what our boy's mom said. Mugi wanted to be a dragon but messed up and turned into an Action instead. When he asks what that means, she explains it's a bunch of corrupted forces, basically a mix of evil, and the only option left for someone lost in the abyss. Old Jang realizes she was right. He tells Bai to grab Haseon and bail, but Bai won't have it. Jang insists it's too risky to stay, but Baim is dead set on taking down Imugi tonight. In a split second, Baim appears right behind Imugi. The speed is insane. Just as Baim reaches out, a tentacle lashes out and grabs his arm before Imugi even registers it. The grip is fierce, and Baim feels the pain, confused about where all this pressure is coming from. Imugi lifts him off the ground, dragging him down with those tentacles. With a smirk, he fires pitch-black lightning straight at Biome. The whole gang shouts for Biome, but Imugi barely pays them any mind. He's already won. Suddenly, Biome is in the air above and behind Imugi. They clash hard, trading blows. Biome swings, but Imugi blocks him. Dark arms grab onto him mid-attack, fueling his anger. Imugi slams him back, but Biome breaks free and rips away the tentacles. In no time, they're trading strikes while spinning through the air. Old Jang sees Imugi has become pure evil, while Based looks like he's about to drop. Just then Miho wakes up and can't believe it's really Imugi. The devil snakes clash with the trigger claws, and the fight feels intense. Biome tries to gain an edge by going higher in the air, while Imugi, calm and smirking, flicks his wrist, hurling dark energy and lightning down. Biome's crazy speed lets him dodge this time. Using his third eye energy, Imugi summons huge devil serpents that tear through the ground and swarm Biome. He fights back but gets overpowered, wrapping tightly around him and crushing him. Biome can feel every bone under pressure, but it's not enough to take him down. Imugi channels lightning into his arm and fires a lethal blast right at Biome, setting him on fire. Biome screams in pain, nearly buried and crushed. Hassan's eyes go wide as he calls for Biome. Through the smoke, Biome realizes he's lost so much blood he can barely move. Imugi hovers above him, mocking his earlier bravado, claiming he's not the Imugi Biome once knew. He raises his arm to summon red lightning. The clouds crackle with energy, ready to strike, and this time, Imugi looks like he's about to finish Biome off for good, unleashing all that energy. Out of nowhere, Old Jang leaps in, tossing wooden statues into the air to block the attack. He yells for Biome to pull it together, saying he's bought him a bit of time. Biome can barely get himself to move. Jang is running on fumes, pleading for Biome to get back up. Meanwhile, Imugi cranks the lightning to max, pouring every bit of energy into it. Old Jang stands his ground, determined not to let his loved ones go down. Haseon remembers he's a hero and coils chains to attack Imugi. Jang tries to stop him, but it's too late. Imugi turns his attention towards Jang. In that moment, Byom finally rises, fully powered up and ready for round 2. Jang's yelling for Byom to help Haseon, but Byom isn't falling for it. Imugi changes into an Akshin. Meanwhile, our hero's trying to choke Imugi out, holding him down for Byom to strike. Imugi fires off an energy blast, but our guy hangs on and yells at Byom to move it. Finally, Byom lets out a massive roar, but old Jang is shocked. Byom isn't rushing in to save Haseon. He's aiming to take out Imugi. Imugi whips his tentacles around, slamming both Jang and Byom to the ground, but Jang isn't backing down. Imugi gathers up another lightning spell, crazy confident he'll finish them all off in one hit. The lightning strikes and everything in its way gets wrecked. Smoke fills the area, and Jang gets hit hard, collapsing and zoning out. Imugi smirks for a second, but Haseon is still hanging on, and Byom's ready with his claws. It's a wild last stand. Our hero shouts for Byom to go for it, but those annoying tentacles have him locked down again. Byom struggles to break free. Nothing is ever easy, but then out of nowhere, he tears through those tentacles and charges like a dark tiger going straight for Imugi. Amid all this chaos, our guy's still hanging on to Imugi like a little monkey. Imugi finally loses it, unleashing his full power, making it impossible for our hero to hold on. The energy wave flings him away, and as he falls he just hopes Byom finishes Imugi off for good. Byom doesn't hesitate. He leaps in and slashes at Imugi. Imugi barely gets a defense up, but Byom pushes through and digs into him. Blood spills from Imugi's throat as he desperately tries to stop it. He's lost on how Byom suddenly powered up. He collapses with Byom looming over him like a nightmare. The tiger charges again, and Imugi is just trying to hold himself together. Feeling a death blow coming, he mutters that he didn't want to go out like this. In the final moment, Byom's about to smash him, but out of nowhere, Imugi explodes upward with one last surge. Smoke rises, and both beasts are still standing, but Imugi's stamina is shot, while Byom's still got plenty of power left to put him down for good. Suddenly Doc shows up with his bat, ready to smack Byom into next week. Byom's furious that Doc's suddenly on the Yacha gang's side, but Doc doesn't care. He just swings and knocks Byom out cold. Shiny grabs Imugi while Doc looks at our unconscious hero. He hesitates for a moment thinking, then scoops him up and carries him off. A little while later, Shiny bursts into the lab, all worried about Imugi. Haseon, acting casual, says Imugi just has some minor injuries, and a lord like him doesn't break that easily. Shiny, already irritated, snaps back asking if they really have to do the transplant right now. Can't they just wait until Imugi wakes up? Haseon reminds her that Imugi's lifelong dream is to take Haseon's power and be reborn as something totally unique. That just ticks Shiny off even more, and she yells that she's not against the transplant, just that they can wait until Imugi is conscious. Haseon hits back, saying she clearly doesn't trust him. He goes on about how Imugi shouldn't let something so minor bother him. Then he adds that if Imugi can't push through this, maybe his vessel was never meant to be. Finally, Shiny snaps and grabs Haseon by the neck. Haseon calmly warns her that the transplant's already underway, and if she hurts him, it'll affect Imugi too. He starts bragging about how he's creating the strongest superhuman ever, which leaves Shiny stunned. She demands he stop everything right now. Haseon's practically ecstatic, obsessed with the idea that he's making this powerful being right in front of her. Shiny desperately calls out to Imugi to wake up and stop the grafting, but he can't hear her. Though she wants to smash Haseon in the face, she knows it'll just make things worse. Haseon shouts that she doesn't understand anything. At that moment, Haseon finally snaps back to consciousness. He's confused about where he is and what kind of nightmare this is. Spotting Imugi, he immediately wants to break free and take him down. Shuni and Haseon see he's awake, and Haseon gets this crazy look in his eyes, like he just won the lottery. The machine speeds up, and Haseon, bewildered, demands they turn it off right now. He squeezes his eyes shut and suddenly everything goes silent. But when he opens them again, he finds himself in some strange room, hands tied up. Haseon is thrilled that Haseon is all alone. He admits he's always wanted to see Haseon in person. Our hero starts yelling, wanting to know who this creep is and what's going on. Haseon just laughs and tells him not to die yet, or he'll mess up the fun. Doc walks in, and Haseon realizes this is the same scumbag he knows, but Doc just walks past, ignoring him entirely as Haseon calls out,